lawsuit accusing him of, well, we can't say it, but graping. Right. Graping a child at an awards after party. What do you think? Is that true? Is he just being wrapped up in the whole Diddy thing? Because he came out and he made a statement. He was like, there is no effing way that this is true, da-da-da-da-da. But, like, why wouldn't you say that?
I think Jay-Z's done a good deal of dirt. This in particular is one that kind of had me scratching my head because I think I shouldn't say I think. From what I read, if I'm not mistaken, they said it was age 13.
Yeah. So do you know the full story? Should I break it down real quick? So there was this 13-year-old girl. She was outside of Radio City Hall, and she was like talking to limousine drivers right before the MTV Movie Awards. This is a long, long time ago. I can't tell you the year right now. But one of them was like, you're just what Diddy wants. You should come to the after party. So she shows up to the after party, signs an NDA, and she's hanging out, and she starts feeling woozy because there's something in her drink. And she wants to lay down. And then what she says is she remembers Diddy and Jay-Z. Diddy, Jay-Z, and another woman. And Jay-Z pinned her down. Diddy did what he did. And then Diddy pinned her down, and Jay-Z took advantage of her as the woman watched. And then she got up and left and went to a gas station and called her dad. And so that's the case. And so now there's also the question of, like, who is that woman? You think Jay-Z and a woman, and then you think...
Yeah. All the singles. So it's one of those scenarios where, for one, I don't want to completely deny the legitimacy of those claims because, for one, Diddy has always been a very polarizing figure. And when the news had broke regarding Diddy, I don't want to say I immediately believed it, but I was 110% leading towards, oh yeah, he did that shit. There's not a single thing that was written in everything where I was, you know what? Maybe he didn't do that. No, he's 100%. I'm leaning towards, you know what? If they were to find him guilty, you won't see, oh man, this is a psyop. I'm not going to be that guy.
Bro, and we said this on the podcast a while ago. No one came to back him up. No one was like, hey, what the fuck? That's not Diddy.
Right.
No one. Everyone was quiet.
And with Jay-Z, the thing is that him coming up, his whole come up, there's of course an element of controversy that was there, where of course you do your dirt in the streets, you do what you got to do. And at the time, I believe the year in which this happened was about, what, 2002, 2003?
The Jay-Z thing?
Yeah. What year did they say this transpired?
Well, this was
early
2000.
2000. Okay, so 2000. This is what, right as he's getting with Beyonce, maybe a year before.
Interesting.
So knowing that they said he was courting Beyonce as she was underage or whatever the case may be, I don't want to rule out the possibility of saying this could possibly be legitimate, but it makes me wonder if in the event there were any reports 20 years ago that were there that could have supported the timeline to prove that he was there, she was there. So, because nothing's developed at the time of this taping. But it's just one of those things where I don't want to say he's not a possible guilty party. The association with having Diddy there, I definitely say that heightens things for sure, because I would not put that past Diddy doing something like that. For Jay, this is just something that's a whole other level. I think there's probably a ton of different things in which he's involved in, because I don't want to say you would, in order to get to a particular, point in the ruling class that, well, you have to sell your soul per se. But Jay's done his fair share that's out there. And then to know how much, I don't want to say issues that he's had in media amongst people, like whether it been with 50 Cent or whoever it may have been. But I'm curious to see if there are individuals who now come out and defend Jay versus almost silence that came out outside of family to defend Diddy. Yeah. If there's people who will come out on his behalf and say, oh no, this is crazy. Like, for example, the fact that he's married to Beyonce, who is amongst the greatest pop singers of all time, and still incredibly, newsworthy, and still in her, maybe not so much her prime, but if she were to drop something or say something, people will flock to hear what it is that she has to say. So I'm curious to see if she'll come out and publicly support her husband or whatever the case may be.
So would you rule out, because she's anonymous, the girl that's claiming that she was, taken advantage of by Jay-Z. Do you think this is just someone looking for settlement, looking for money, because it's very easy to be like, hey, the pedophile that's friends with all these A-listers, I can just accuse one of them, and people would believe me. Right. I mean, do you see any benefit in that? Could that be the case as well, that Jay-Z is innocent? In this case,
it's a possibility. It's a possibility because the moment that you roll Diddy into it, because of everything that's going on, there's a heightened level of believability in the case, and legitimacy that's there. If it was just solely on Jay, you now would need a whole lot of proof to also get the court of public opinion to now buy into it as well. It could be a situation where it could be a smear campaign, kind of something like that. I think there's a lot of different scenarios that are there. And of course, going back to the fact that this was in 2000, was there ever a moment in which she attempted to have come forward and then you were shot down or whatever? Because I understand the idea behind, well, it's incredibly heavy to the heart. It's very close to you. You don't want to be in a situation where, all right, you feel shame and guilt about what transpired or whatever the case may be, but still you're a minor, right? So I would assume at this age, she's about 38, 37, 36, around that age. So you will have lived enough of life to say, you know what, I have to stand for something. But because it's something that transpired a near quarter century ago, you're gonna need some proof to back it. Zero proof. Because it's very difficult in today's day and age to just say, oh, well, this is this person's word, we're just gonna go and run with it, because we know liars exist. So it's one of those things where I think adding in the element of Diddy increases the legitimacy, because had it just been Jay, I think most people would look at it and say, okay, this is something that has to be taken seriously, but where's the proof? Where's the proof? And you're kind of waiting on the proof. I think now, because Diddy's involved, it's somewhere you say, all right, hey, Jay, you got to kind of defend yourself here and explain how you had nothing to do with this, all while still asking, hey, where's the proof?
Yeah, we'll see. So far, no proof. And Alex Shapiro, Jay-Z's lawyer, saying that he's requiring her to, at least, because she hasn't said her name either. Right. So this is just like a ghost phantom rumor at this point. So it's like, at least identify yourself, or else like there's no
there's almost nothing here. It's just like you're just saying this publicly, and then now what?
Because do you have witnesses? Do you have anything else?
And you're no longer a minor, so there's no sort of anonymity that you'll be able to stay with.
Yeah, that's
for
what
a long period of time. So you say, all right, you come forward. Who are you? And then let's see. Of course, naturally, what's going to end up happening is, let's find out if you have any dirt throughout your lifetime. And you throw that out there, like, oh wow, this person was a prostitute. When we take their, word seriously or whatever, it's always like that. Once you reveal who you are, then they just find a way to smear you until you can find out other sort of evidence and facts. So as time progresses, I would hope that there's an element of proof that happens, because of course, like once you have that kind of assault that happens, if you do go into the hospital, they have the kits and stuff that they run, those different sort of tests. What happens psychologically? Because if you endured something like that, but you're a kid, you don't know any better. But if you called your dad, did you inform your dad? Is your dad still alive? Can he now provide a testimony on your behalf?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's the next one.
Where were you from? They're not going to pull surveillance tapes from 20 years ago.
If there are any.
If there are any, there probably isn't. So if you're sitting at 13, you're either in, depending on the birthday, you're either in 7th, 8th, or 9th grade. So during that time, well, did you just go back to school as if nothing happened? Your friends, now granted, you're a minor, so it's incredibly difficult to get this kind of information, and it's nearly a quarter century prior. So did you change in how you operated in your life? There's so many different moving factors, and evidence is ultimately what's going to have to be on the marquee here. So it's just one of those things where it's like you look at it and you're like, oh boy, this is bad if it's true. But if it's not, and you never were to come forward, it's just like, all right, somebody's just trying to go and smear you and involve you alongside what's going on with Diddy. So I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.